Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome again to another week of the science of comping, how to value houses in just 15 minutes or less. Guys, I am super excited to be here with you all today and get some properties valued for you, show you how to value them yourself very quickly so you don't get hung up on all the details and all these little things that hold so many people back. So really pumped to be here with you guys, and then also show you exactly what to offer on these properties. I've never done that before. I've always just remained focused on just showing you how to value the properties. But today we're going to take it to the next level. And I'm not only going to show you to value the properties, but I'm also going to show you exactly what to offer on the properties too. So where this is valuable is if you have a property that you are working with right now and you're just stuck on it. These are the calls to bring them to so we can go ahead and get those valued. So we're going to give it a second to give people a chance to hop on here as we just got started. And when you come on, go ahead and put your where you're watching from in the comments, and that way I can see where you guys are watching from. I'd love to see where you guys are watching from. So we'll wait for that. But yeah, so again, really excited to be here with you guys. So let me share with you before we get started here, some of the main issues that I find that people have. Number one, the main issue that people have is there's a lot of complicated ways out there to evaluate properties and to kind of come up with the value, and then also what your offer is. There's a lot of different formulas out there, and they can be really confusing for people, right? And so people just get stuck. They get analysis paralysis, and they're like, "Shoot, I'm throwing my hands up. I don't really know what to do," right? Well, that's the purpose of these series, and I saw that struggle, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go ahead and launch this new series. So I want to make sure that we are streaming correctly and everything's on. Hang tight for 1 second, guys, and we will get going here. 1 minute. Give me 1 second, and we're gonna get hopping here. Your leads. Cool. I was having some streaming issues this morning, so want to make sure that we're good here. Bear with me for 1 minute. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pause for just 1 second here. And then we're going to get going. All right, give me 1 second. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead, and I had a few people send me a few properties through email, and so I'm going to get those here in just a second. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and show you how I would value certain properties. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do a screen share here. Give me 1 minute. And if you join the live here, just go ahead and comment where you're watching from. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to bring this over here. A minute. Okay, so what you're seeing right now is you're seeing PropStream. This is one of the tools that we use to evaluate properties. All right, so PropStream is a great way to evaluate properties because it has a lot of information. Like it simplifies things. So there are a lot of different websites you could search property info on, and you have to jump between 2 or 3 sites. I like PropStream because it kind of condenses everything all into one and makes things very easy to use. By the way, if you don't have PropStream yet, go to getpropstreamnow.com and secure your 7-day free trial. And after that, I believe it's like $97 a month. Totally worth it. We get all of our lists from here and everything. So, okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to value a property right here. Let's see this one here. Okay, let's actually not do that one. Let's do. I'm going to type in Duval County, and let me grab a property in Duval County, and that I'm going to value here. Give me 1 second. Let me actually do this. I'm going to go to, I'm going to pick a list off here real quick. I'm just going to do something like tired landlords, and I'm just going to pick a property. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at this property right here. All right. So as you can see, this property is in Jacksonville, and it looks pretty outdated. Newer property, pretty outdated though. This was built in 1998. Okay, everything seems pretty outdated here though. All right, some newer floors. Okay, cool. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at this property and go ahead and value it right here. So let's go to the comparables. So in PropStream, you're gonna go ahead and select comparables. And we're going to start with MLS here. The reason I like MLS comps is because, and what are MLS comps, by the way? Let's explain that. So if a property is listed with a realtor, it's going to be listed on a public marketplace called the MLS, the multiple listing service. This is the largest marketplace where properties are being bought and sold. And once a property is listed with a realtor and it goes on to the MLS, all right. And by the way, the only way you can access the MLS if you're a licensed realtor. But once it goes on there and the realtor has the property listed, it then gets pushed out to all the sites the general public has access to, like Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, all those, right? And so the reason why when I start to value a property, I like looking at MLS comps first is because a property is going to sell for its highest and best number typically when it's listed with a realtor after it's been renovated, okay? Usually homeowners don't list fully renovated homes by themselves. And if they do, they don't get full market value because they don't really understand the market. A realtor understands the market and knows how to squeeze the juice out of every dollar that property can get when it's fully renovated, okay? So that being said, give me 1 second. All right, cool. Okay, great. So, so that being said, now you understand that. So what is a comp, right? A comp is a sold comparable property that's similar to ours, a property that's fully renovated, right? So we only use fully renovated properties to value our outdated, messed up fixer-upper property that we have, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to look for properties. To value this property, we have to find what is our property's value in its best possible condition. So if this property was fully fixed up, right, had no issues, right, what would it be worth? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So first thing we want to do is we want to look within 1 year of the sales, right? So for instance, if we're looking at local properties that have sold, we want to look at properties that sold within the last year. Then what we want to do, and PropStream automatically does this, which is what I love. Then the square footage, we're going to be looking at properties that sold that are within similar size square footage, so 20% up and 20% down. What do I mean by that? Well, this property is 1,824 square feet. 20% smaller is 1,459. 20% greater is 2,189. All right, so that's the range of size of properties that we can use to compare to find the value of this property. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at the distance. Now, typically what I like to do is I like to start out at a 1/4 mile, and then I'll go a 1/2 mile if I don't have enough. Only way you want to go out to a mile typically is if you're in more of like a rural area or properties that have larger lots of land, like an acre, and they're really spread out. Typically, cash buyers aren't really buying heavily in those areas. So 1/2 mile to 1/4 mile to a 1/2 mile should get you through, right? So bedrooms and bathrooms, residential, we're going to select that. Property type, single family. And then we're going to go 10 years up and down in the square footage here. So 1998. So 10 years down would be 1988 to 2008, I believe. Let's see. I think 1998 to 2008. Yeah, that would be 10 years, right? So, and if not, a little fuzzy math, that's okay. 10 years up and down is what we're getting at. So now what we have here is we have a 1/4 mile. We have properties that, residential properties, single family, properties that sold within 20% of the square footage within the last year. So the great thing is we have enough properties here. Okay. If you don't have enough, you can go to both and get public record properties too. These are properties that were sold without a realtor. But like I said, I really like starting with MLS. And if I really need to stretch it to get more get more sales, then I'll go to both here. So it expands that out and I get more sales. Local public record sales where sellers were not represented by realtor, and sales where they were, right? So here's what we got here. All right. So what we have is we have 3 properties here. So we have, let me uncheck this one here. So whenever you see this in PropStream, this was a rental that sold, right? Or not a rental that sold. It was a property that was listed for rent and it was rented. Okay. So this property is listed for rent, 2,950 square feet. Man, didn't have my coffee today. $2,950 a month in rent. That's what the property's rented for, not 2,950 square feet. All right. So then we're going to take a look at these. So the biggest thing you want to look at here is you want to look at pricing consistency. Okay. So I have 445, 435. So those are pretty similar, right? And then I have 412. So the thing I want to do is I want to see what's different about this 412 than these other 3 right here. So I'm going to uncheck this one. I'm not going to count this one. And this one here, this 412 one. Okay. So this one's a little older of a property. Maybe that had something to do with it. 1993, these are 4 years newer. Okay. So let's take a look at the pictures of this one here. Okay. And by the way, the property that I chose here, this isn't really your typical wholesale deal. But sometimes people come across newer properties, so I figure we dive into it. All right, so this property looks like it was renovated. Okay, granite countertops. You know what? The cabinets don't really look that updated. Mainly looking for brushed nickel, like a hardware on there, where you'll see. You'll know what I mean when you see other properties here. We'll show you. This is not updated. This is kind of like older. This one's just kind of like a clean move-in ready type of property. Okay, no pool in the back. Nice little patio there. So let's take a look at those other properties that sold. Okay, so this one here, I don't have pictures for this one because PropStream doesn't have them. So let's go find the pictures for it. Whoops, not what I wanted to do. Give me 1 second. So I'm going to go ahead and put this property in here. And I'm going to look on Zillow, because Zillow typically has the pictures. All right, so let's take a look at this one here. Okay, this has older carpet. Okay, this is what I was talking about with newer hardware. You'll see that on the cabinets, and they just look newer. If you look at it, you're like, wow, that looks really nice. Chances are that's probably newer, right? Okay, this one has a moderately updated bathroom. Okay, you notice that because of the tile there. Okay, so this one has an updated bathroom. All right, outdated kitchen. You can tell that by these types of countertops right here in these cabinets. It just doesn't look new, right? Your appliances. Okay, interesting. So that one sold in that condition there, which is like semi-updated, like the bathroom was updated, I believe. So let's take a look at this other one here. So it could be the neighborhood, the reason why that one sold for. So let's take a look at that. This one here. Okay, so this one had a pool. And it had water view, right? Had like a pond behind the house. Okay, so the pool definitely adds value here for sure. Again, outdated countertops, outdated cabinets there. So updated bathroom. Okay, so there's certain types of areas that you're going to find wholesale properties in, or you're going to try to wholesale a property, and it's not really going to be a big like flip area. It's going to be a big area where people buy houses in as-is condition and they move into them with very, very small updates. So it's just clean, move-in ready type properties. So there are buyers for these types of properties, but this is not your typical wholesale deal, right? So both of these are kind of like in similar, all 3 of these are kind of like in very similar condition. Like they usually have like one thing that's been updated, one thing that this one has a pool. So here's what I would do on this. What I've typically seen is a pool typically adds roughly about it usually adds roughly about $20,000 to the value of a property here. So what we'll do is, in this case, since it has a pool, we want to account for that. I'm just going to go 445. Okay, minus we're going to do 20K off of this right here, be 415. So let's say 445 plus 415. Okay, plus we're going to say 412 for this one right here. Okay, and we're going to divide that by 3. Okay, so that gives us 424 as an average price. So 430, close enough. All right, so what you could do, so you could take these here, and it says the average purchase price per square foot is $231.96. So if you were to take $231.96 and multiply it times the 1824, this would come up with a value of this property of $423. But as you can see, that's like the long way to do it. But as you can see, PropStream came up here, the value of a property of $430. And all it did is you just check these 3 boxes and that's it. So 423, 430, I would say is a safe value of this property in its best possible condition. So what would you offer on a property like this, right? So in Jacksonville, what we typically, this property is located, you can offer, you can make offers on properties anywhere from 50 to 55% is typically the range where you want to be in. And if you get a property in that range, then chances are it's going to be a fantastic deal for you, right? So this one here, we could offer a bit more just because on the higher end of that range, just because it's in better condition. Okay. So if you take a look at this property, it's very clean. It's move-in ready for the most part, just like those other ones. Okay. May just need some paint, cosmetics, and things like that, right? All right. So this one here, what you could do is you could do one of 2 things. You could either go to the higher end of the range at 55%, or you could even push it to 60% given the condition of this property. So this property here, because all I did is add 5% just based on the condition of the property. So this property here, if we were going to make an offer on this one with the average sale being 430 times 60%, you know, a solid offer on this one would be $258,000. So that's how we come up with an offer on this property. But as you can see, we did this the long way, showing you how you could account for the pool. As you can notice, though, it doesn't make too big of a difference here. And so what we did is we took the purchase price square foot, multiplied it times our square foot, and that brought us to a number very similar to this. Or we could just click these 3, and then PropStream says it averages out to 430. So that's how we do it. So that's what I would do there on this one. So that would be a great offer on this property. And it'd be a competitive offer as well. So let's see what questions you guys have, and I'll go ahead and answer those. In the meantime, what I'd like you to do is drop your questions in the comments section here. So if you have a property you're trying to evaluate right now, I'd love to see what that is so we can go ahead and evaluate it together. All right, until we do that, I'm going to move on and I'm going to value another property here. So let's go ahead and take a look at 329. Okay. So yeah, let's take a look at this property right here. So this property is in an area of Jacksonville, 32209. I know this property, this area pretty well. It's a low income area, high crime. So you really got to get properties here for a complete steal in order for them to fly off the shelf, right? So this property here, let's take a look at this one. So we're going to go to comparables, right? We're going to go to MLS. I'm going to go to, let's see, I'm going to go to within a quarter mile. We're going to go to property class, residential. We're going to property type, single family. Okay, so year built. Oh, this one, we can't use this one. That's right, because it says year built is 2023. but this property is not a new construction property, as you can see here. So I think that this was this is either an error, or maybe a builder bought it and knocked the house down. Maybe the house isn't there anymore. Let's take a look. Yeah, see, that's a new construction property. That property, a builder bought that property, knocked it down, and then I'll show you here. Let me share this tab. So as you can see, a builder bought this one here. He knocked it down and built a new property there. All right, so let's skip this one then, and let's go find another property. And by the way, if you're just joining us here and would like to see properties for us to review, go ahead and do that. I'd love to check it out. And from there, we will go ahead and let you know what the value is and what to offer. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these other properties here. Give me 1 minute, finding some of the pictures so we could take a look at them together. All right, see, let's take a look at this one. This Cedar Park property. This is kind of like a typical wholesale deal right here. Okay, so this one here looks dated on the outside. You go through, boom, got all that. Look at that, old cabinets. They put new flooring down. Okay, so this one might be able to be a rental. Okay, you're gonna take a look at here. All right, all that's outdated. You can clearly see that. Great. We have a great property we're working with right here. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to comps. We're going to click MLS. We're going to go to 0.25. All right. And then we're going to go to the property class. We're going to go to the property type. We're going to be within 20% of the square footage. I already did that. Year build is 1954. So we're going to go to 1944 to 1964. All right, so we have one property. I'm glad this is happening because you're going to be able to see what we do in real time here, right? So here's the thing. Whenever I have a property, oh, this is Cedar Park Lane, Cedar Forest. I thought that was on the same street. Never mind. So this would be a good comp for the property, potentially, depending on the value. $200,000, it's sold for that. Let me see if this one was renovated. Okay, this is almost an identical version of our property. It's been renovated. So I like this one, especially for this area. So we may use the, okay, so that's a little outdated there. Okay, so this one sold for $200,000. So what we could do is we could basically take this, 144.40 purchase price per square foot. Let me grab a calculator here. So 144, and I could multiply that times 1305. Okay, and that would say this property, based on the difference in square footage, would be worth around 188. But I'm not convinced yet, right? Because this one wasn't totally renovated. It was renovated a little bit, just some flooring. The back part wasn't renovated here at all. And I'd like to find one that's fully renovated if possible. So I'm going to go here and go to a half mile. Okay. So now you got to be really careful here. You can't compare properties over here to over here because you're crossing a major body of water. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, and this looks like a main road. Yeah, that looks like a main. Want to steer clear of interstate properties on the other side of interstates, state roads, anything like that. Blending boulevard, that could be a dividing line here, but let's take a look here. So we got one. Let me see what 8 is valued at. 278. Yeah, so you can see values on this side. Oh, maybe not. 2 is only at 180. Let's see what this one looked like when it sold. Sometimes properties on the other side of a major dividing line, they sell for significantly different prices. So we want to avoid that. And the main dividing line is like a busy road like this, like an interstate, a state road, something like that. So number two, that's interesting. So number two, so 1, 2, so 180 and 200. How much difference of square footage there? Close. This one sold for less. I wouldn't use properties on this other side. Honestly, what I probably would do for this one is I probably would just use this one comp right here. Typically, it's good to have it's good to have 3 comps, but if you don't have that, you have to go with what you have. And I feel like if we use anything over here, it's not going to be accurate. So I would only use this one right here, and I'd come with 188 on the overall value of this property in its best possible condition. Sometimes PropStream's on for the value, and sometimes it's off. So I just can't find anything that supports that value right there. So let's take a look at some of these others just to see. So number 10, where's number 10? So 10's over here. All right. And let's take a look at that one and see what that looked like. All right. So this property was fully decked out, remodeled. I wish this was on the other side. So one of the things I would do if I was looking to wholesale in this area, I would actually contact the local realtor and I would ask them about this road right here. Okay. This is one of the reasons why, being virtual, we leverage property inspectors, right? Because a property inspector is someone who's our boots on the ground, can check out the properties for us. And it's priceless to be able to pick up the phone, call one of these realtors, that's our property inspector, and say, hey, you know, I'm looking at this property right now, but I want to find out how well you know this area here in 32210, right? I got this Blanding Boulevard here. Is this like a major dividing line, like properties to the left it or were significantly more than properties on the right, or significantly less? And they're either going to say, oh yeah, you can't compare properties and that's a totally different area, or they're going to say, no, that's not. It's really nothing. And in that case, what I would do is I would count. If it's not, I would count comps over here. But if it is, I would not, if that makes sense. So what I would do is I'd take this first cedar property to have this be it. You know, this one looks like it's fairly renovated. So then at that point, I could use this one here, right? And then I would take number 10, and that would put us up to that 218 roughly that PropStream is estimating here. So number 10 is this one right here. So you got 1, 2, and 10. So if the realtor tells you, hey, that's not a big deal, that's what I would do. If you don't have that and you're making this call on your own, I'd be more conservative than anything. And I would just like take those off and I would say, okay, 190 roughly is what the values of this property. Is this helpful, guys? So we've gone through a few things here, and I want to make sure this is helpful to you guys. Okay, great. So Lori here, she has a property we're going to be looking at, 1055 Nelson Street. So let's take a look at that. So we're going to do 1055 Nelson Street. All right. So let's pop this one open here. So this property is in Jacksonville. And we're going to be taking a look at this one. We're going to come over here to our MLS. We're going to be looking at the distance. So we're going to go 0.25. Okay. Property class is residential, single family, year built up and down, 1954 to 1974. All right. We do 10 years up and down from this right here. Okay. So as you can see, this eliminated all the comps, right? So let's go out to a half mile. That'd be my next go. There we go. Okay, so we found some. Now, this right here is definitely a major dividing line. So I can't use anything on this side. So comp number 1, can't use it. Comp number 2, I could use. So let me take this one off. And this is a rental. Oh, man. All right. So awesome. Thanks for throwing me a curveball, Lori. Yeah, so this one here was a rental, so we can't use that. So let's go ahead and do this here. We've already went out through a year. We've already we've already gone to a half mile. It's super risky to go out a mile because so much can change within a mile, right? So I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to stay a half mile. But what I want to do is I'm going to take off the year built. Boom, look at all that. So immediately when I went, so now if I'm going to be going that drilled down, then I'm going to go within a quarter mile. All right, so I got this here. Okay, and let's take a look at some of these properties here. So our property is this one right here. Looks like it's that may be in front of a busy road. No, it's just a neighborhood street. Okay, cool. Little busy road. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So let me go through here and take a look at these. So let's look at let's look at 1, 6, and 4 properties that are just kind of like in this pocket, right? That's what I really want to look at. So we're going to go to 1. We're going to do 6. And then 4. Could use 7. The reason I didn't select 7 is because look how close this one is to the road here. That's closer to a road, so the value probably wouldn't be as much. So we got 314, we have 349, and 335. Okay, so as you can see, properties are selling pretty much between 314 and 335 here. So let me do something here. Give me 1 second. So these properties, give me 1 minute as I punch some info here. 12B. Okay, this is a 3-bedroom, 1.5. All right, ours does not have a pool. All right, we're going to say, let's see, I'm just curious if this one has a garage. Let's pump this one into Zillow. Just going to check this one out. Whoops. Let me grab this here, paste that there. PropStream says this, but let me see if PropStream has that info. Okay, so I don't see that anywhere. It looks like here the property has no garage from what I can tell. Yeah, no garage. They probably closed it in. Looks like a nice property. So we're going to come back here and we're going to say 0, 0. Okay. So now what we're going to do is take a look at the comps we've chosen. And again, properties look like they're selling between 314 and 335. So based on the average sale price here with PropStream, it shows that the average price would be like 332. So if you were to take the square footage here of 262, that average square footage, and multiply times our square footage, that would put the value here in 338. Okay. I'm just going to check one quick thing on this one. Bear with me for a minute. Okay. This one sold for 314. I'm just testing something here for a minute. Bear with me. So 1331. 1. And then this bedrooms and bathrooms was a 3-1. Okay. This one had no pool. Did this one have a garage? Let's take a look at this. Whoops. Give me 1 second. Does this one have a garage? Let's see if this one has a garage. Whoops. Briarfield. Okay, so this one had a 1-car garage. Okay, boom. All right. So let me go ahead and take a look at one more thing here. I'm going to grab this other property here off Nelson Street. All right, so this property is a 3.2, 1111 square feet. That's sold for 349. Okay, square footage on this one here was 1111. All right, so this one had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So 3.2, no pool, no. This is just not an area for properties that have pools. Whoops. Bear with me for 1 minute while I pull this up. Okay, I'm just taking a look at this property here. This property does not have a garage. Okay, boom. All right, and let me see one last property down here, which is this 1065 Owens Avenue. Test something here. Bear with me for 1 minute. We're going to do a 3-2, 3-2, 1414 square footage. And then the sales price on this one was $335. Okay. No pool, so we're going to say no. This one did not have a garage, I don't think. Let me take a look. All right, let's pump this one in here. This one did not have a garage either. Okay, so boom. Okay, yeah, so if we were going to use these comps here, so let me switch over here. Whoops. All right, can you guys still see PropStream here? I think I'm still good. Yeah, so basically, if we were to use those three, this property would be valued right around the original number I told you guys, which was around 330, 338, 339, 336. So the one thing that I want to take a look at here, and I didn't really have to look at these too much from like a renovated standpoint, because you can see here, if you look at the range in prices, you see 314, 270, 349, 335, 317, 314. So if you're like, Chris, you did that really quick. So how did you know those properties were renovated? Well, I can just kind of tell by looking at the prices here. I could probably tell that this one may not have been renovated, because look at the price difference that's sold between these two. So let me, I'll pull this one up just to take a look. But that's how I did this one kind of quickly. And if this one was renovated, then there was some type of an issue with it. Okay, so yeah, just what I thought. This property was not renovated. Okay. Bathroom was, but kitchen's kind of outdated. Just new paint on the inside. And the bathroom was renovated. That's it. All right. So this one was also, this one also looks like it was a wood frame property. And our property, it looks to be a block property. Block properties, so properties that are made of concrete block, always sell for more than frame properties. So let me go here. Let me take a look here. All right, details. Yeah. So this property was a, let's go back here. Roof built up, construction. Okay, it doesn't say, but this looks like a block, concrete block property to me. All right, now, one thing you want to do too when you're looking at comps is, one risk I took here is I was going outside of the build year for the property, right? Our property is built in 1964, and the comps I chose, this one here was built in 1941. So this one was older. So older doesn't, like, if you're going to be conservative with your value, going older in the comps, it doesn't hurt you as much as going newer does. Okay. So I didn't want to pick one that was built in 2006, 1945, 1946. Yeah, I feel confident and comfortable with that value, because if I had chosen this one and built in 2006, that probably could have pushed my value up too high. But being that, I didn't have any properties to compare us against that were fully renovated and built within 10 years, I have to take off the limiting the limiting bracket of the year build, and then I can go ahead and take a look at other properties. But you just want to make sure you don't compare too new of properties, right? Because a property built in 1950 does not sell the same square footage as a property that was built in like 2010. Okay, so you want to make sure you don't do that. Let's see here. And one thing I want to see, because some of these properties were not renovated here. This one was, okay. Give me 1 second here. Bear with me for a minute. So this one here, this Briarfield property, I want to take a look at this. going to see what it looked like on realtor.com. Okay, so this property, this actually looks like a slightly better street than our street. Just based on the area, and you'll be able to tell that. Okay, has granite countertops, updated bathrooms. Okay, this may have been a historic area, possibly Murray Hill, potentially. And the reason I say that is you can look at the doorknob here. That's very old design there. And historic areas kind of sell for different prices. But let me take a look at this one here, this Nelson that I used. Let's open up Nelson Road here. Share this tab. Okay, I took a look at this one already. This one here looked great on the inside, fully renovated. Yep, that's exactly how it should look, fully renovated property. All right. Now, again, this street looks like it's a little bit better than our street. So properties here may sell for a higher dollar amount than properties on our street. So let's take a look at one last thing here. This Owen. All right, share this tab instead. Okay, so these are all in Murray Hill, it looks like, and our property off Nelson Street. Oh, hang on one second. Look at that, 1013 Nelson Street. So this property, done deal. Okay, great. Really happy I had that comparable. So here's what I would immediately do. I would look at this one. I would look at immediately this Nelson property here as the value of our property. So 314, the reason because it's on the same street. So this sold for 314.13. I would go ahead and multiply this times 1290. See, that puts it at 405. That's on the same street. This one's tough. This one was tough because we didn't have properties. We didn't have comps, right? We didn't have comps within 10 years. But this one here is on the same street. So I really would like to go with this one here as being the value. 1013 Nelson. There's two things here, right? So if there was like a north and south Nelson Street, there could be an issue where one side of the street's nicer than the other side of the street. But I don't see that here. I see 1055 Nelson. So let's take a look around here. So you have that property. Okay, so I'm taking a look around here. Then I'm going to take a look at this street here. Okay, seeing if the area looks the same. I mean, to me, the area kind of looks very similar. All right, so here's what I would do. So in a situation like this, where you're like, I'm stuck, which one do I do, right? Because I typically take the value of the street. If there's a property that's sold in the street, I typically would take the value of that one. But if you get stuck and you're like, well, shoot, the comps tell me that it's worth 339, but if I just use the one on the street, it pushes it to 400. What do I do, right? At that point, here's what I would do. I would take this 405. I would take 405 plus 339 and divide that by 2, and I would say 372, right? And I would feel comfortable with doing that because that is kind of like a way of meeting in the middle. So I think that's a good way to do it. Now, there's always a chance it's going to come back and 339 could have been the after repaired value. But at the end of the day, you know, the thing you have to do is you have to just make a decision, right? You have to go with it, make a decision. I think 379 could be a better number just because this one's on the same exact street as ours. Sold for 349. And yeah, 349. Take a look at this one. Yeah, I would say that meeting in the middle could be great. All right. So if you want to just be 100% certain when you go to make an offer to the seller, you could make an offer to the seller based on the lower percentage, the 339. And when you go to sell the property, you could sell it based on a 372, right? And then kind of go from there. So a lot of ways you could sell it, but if you want to just take the middle, like I said, 372, you could do that, and that should be fine. Because again, we have this one that sold right on the same street. And this property here, 1945, ours is 64. Ours is a newer property, and this is an older property. So, but that's what I would do. Cool. 332, 345, significantly. Okay, so Lori is saying basically that she got a similar numbers to what we're getting, 332, 345. And when you double check, it's significantly higher than this estimate and prop stream estimated value. Yeah. Yeah. So prop stream estimated value, again, I would use this as a guide, not a matter of fact. There are certain areas where it's much more accurate than others, right? When it comes to the estimated value here. So that's why I always recommend doing your own comparables. Okay. But PropStream makes it super, super easy. Did you do the 1013 Nelson? Yes, I did. Okay, cool. So a few houses down, same street. It depends on how close that is. I mean, ours is 1055. This is 1013. Let me do something real quick. I'm going to show you guys a neat little tool. This is called Google My Maps. And sometimes I just use it to see how far properties are apart, just where they're sitting on the street. Let me show you what I got here. Give me 1 second. So you just go to google.com/mymaps. And so I'm going to plunk that one down there. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the other property, the 101, this one here. Okay. I'll plunk this into here. Whoops. My fault. Add a map. Okay, so this is our property here, and this here is the other property. So I really can't see there being too much of a difference in value between here and here. So I'd feel comfortable going with the higher ARV. But again, if you want to be conservative with the seller, you can say 379, and I think that's actually the best move here. I think if you go this one here, you're gonna, if you just base it off the three comps that I showed you and got the value of the 339, I think that's going to be a little low, right? Because this one sold on the same street, unless it's totally different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses down, which I've never seen that happen before. I think you're pretty safe there, right? So you could make it based off the midway, and maybe we'd sell off the higher value there. So hope that answers your questions. Okay, guys, we're pretty much at our time here today. Does anybody else have any questions they want to ask? Very cool. All right. Yeah, Lori. Great stuff. Great questions, guys. So the big thing that I want to share with you all is we call this series the science of comping. But science may be complicated, but comping is not. Finding the value is not, right? So if you use PropStream and you do it like I showed you, you take the 3, and you can either take the average value it says there or take the average square foot and multiply it times your property, then chances are you're going to come up with an accurate value nearly every time that you do this, right? Because you have recent properties that sold, they're fully fixed up, and you're going to be able to understand what the value of your property is, even if it's in like not renovated shape, right? So the majority of the properties we come across are not renovated. And so you want to use these sales of other properties that recently sold that are in fully renovated condition, and that will give you your value if you have 3 of those ideally. If there's going to be times where you're going to have a hard time running numbers on properties, and you're going to have a hard time, valuing the property. So at that point, you just got to take something off, right? I don't recommend taking off square footage, but take off year built, and that typically gives you the comps that you need. I wouldn't go out any further than a half mile, a mile only if you're in a rural area. By the way, guys, real quick. So Lori, one of the things I said I was going to do today is to even tell people what to offer on properties. So with your property, let's just call it 379, right? So at 379, what condition is your property in? What condition is that property in? Is it like a full remodel, needs everything, needs a new roof, needs new AC, needs full updating on everything. Have there been any updates in the last 5 years? It's not updated at all, but livable. Okay, cool. What about the roof? Do you know the age of the roof? So if not, what we'll do is we'll just kind of base our offer off of the info we have so far. So it's not updated. Okay, so the roof needs to be replaced too. Okay, cool. All right, so here's what I would do on this one here. On this property, on a 379, what I would do here is in this area, what zip code is this? Let me see. In this zip code, it's 32205. Okay, good zip code. So in this area, you know, I would want to be anywhere from 50 to 55% on this one, right? So at 379, I think that's what we said, right? Was it 379? I think we said that. Yeah, 379 roughly. So at 379, I would want to be at, you know, 189, or I'd want to be at, you know, 189 to 208 as ideally the offer that you'd want on this one. Now, you can come up higher or lower on this one depending on more information the seller gives you, but I think that would be a really solid offer on this property. If you could get that, that could be a smoking opportunity. 190, boom, love it. Love it. Did they accept? Yeah, I have to keep you posted on your progress and your success with that. So good stuff, guys. Well, hey, she seemed happy. Fantastic. See what I mean? That's what I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you that if you follow this process, it's going to be much easier to value properties. You're going to make more winning offers, you get more offers accepted, and you're going to do more deals. So, okay, great. Yeah, just stay on her, follow up with her, and keep me posted. Good stuff, guys. All right, we're going to bring this call to a close. Hope you guys got value out of today's session, the signs of comping, and I'll look forward to meeting with you guys next week. Now, guys, next week is going to be a special week because we're actually going to pause the science of comping, and we're going to have a special guest that we're going to be bringing on next week that's going to share with us an incredible list that you can market to that provides extremely motivated homeowners that you can get big deals from, right? And if you're looking to get your first deal, your next deal, this is going to be a great episode to watch. So you're going to want to go ahead and join us next week. But in the meantime, this wraps up today's episode of the Sign. And we'll talk with you all next week. Have a good one, guys.